This is Phalo, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show. Fuckers.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in Mindcrime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, Shepherd of the Hills, Harley.
That's me, Timo. I love to look over my flock.
There you go. Yes. My Shepherd of the Hills comment is because Mr. Ben Harley, we just got back from the Ozarks, Table Rock Lake, and Shepherd of the Hills is a very big story from out there. There was a John Wayne film, I do believe, from like 1939. That was Shepherd of the Hills, and one of the oldest running shows in Branson, Missouri is an outdoor performance of Shepherd of the Hills.
Really?
It's been being performed since I was born and beyond. So
yes.
It's as
Nice.
old as the Bald Knobbers or the Presleys down there. So so anyone's not familiar with Branson, it's I used to go down there when I was a kid. Before shit blew up down there, before we got the Yakov Smirnoff dinner theater and all this other kind of wild stuff down there. So they basically had the Bald Knobbers, which was the cheap Presleys. They had the Presleys, so we used to go to Bald Knobbers. We could afford it. But they had Soji Tabuchi, the violin maestro. I saw him play with I believe, Bald Knobbers. And he was just an amazing violin player. Yeah. And he actually ended up with his own show. And now I think he plays a Slayer or something. I have no idea. Maybe not Slayer. But yeah, right. But yes, so I went down there. There's basically Silver Dollar City, Shepherd of the Hills, a water park, and a couple shows and fishing. That's what there was when I was a kid. There's much more there now. But we had a good time, Mr. Ben Harley. A little family vacation.
I saw some photos that looked pretty impressive. Looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
beautiful.
Yeah, it was. It was like, let's see, my nephew Austin's birthday when we got there. 2 days later was my day. Oh, and Ben Harley's birthday. Happy birthday, Ben Harley. Yeah, that was his birthday when we got there.
Ooh, it was a good one.
Oh, good. Well, you and my nephew have the same birthday, and then 2 days later, my dad's birthday. He turned 70, 1100. So he's good up there. But we did have a good time, and I'd like to thank my mom and dad for bringing everybody out there. Talking about a Jamaica trip next time. So
nice.
Never been out there with
Elvis.
I know. I'm waiting for Elvis. Yeah, I want to see Elvis for sure. But
it looked like there might be some Bigfoots out in their hills. See anything?
I didn't see anything. I didn't see nothing at all. I take that back. One night I had a bat in my belfry. Not really my belfry, but I had a bat that was picking mosquitoes almost off of my skin one night. He was flapping around me. Yeah, I thought the spirit of Adam West was coming to haunt me. And another night, Angie and I were sitting there because there's a deck, sort of like Salt Fork, except there's no, it's not a screened in, it's just an open deck. Okay. So we're sitting back there enjoying the late evening, and I hear a like that. And I looked up and I said, Angie, turn around and look behind you. Do not do it fast. There was a baby owl.
Oh, really?
That flew, and it was about 6 feet from us. Perched itself up on the railing of the deck, right next to Angie. And she turned around and it did the head turn thing.
Oh,
and
my
looked
God.
at it. And it was, I mean, honestly, Ben Harley, and I'm going to break a little bit of character here. It was just cute as hell. It was just a little darling thing. It really was. It was all fuzzy. It looked like a Muppet and stuff. So, yes. But, so we did enjoy Branson. So it's been a hell of a vacation and birthday month for us, for God's sake. It was Angio's birthday. It was Danny Hick's birthday. It was Chance's birthday. Your birthday. Man. I'm done with you people.
I bet. Yeah. You're probably broke.
I am broke as a joke. I started out broke. So, Let's see. Speaking of that, Mr. Ben Harley, that's instead of having more fun and talking about my Branson trip, I'm going to take the time here to announce something that may not be relevant by the time you hear this. And I wasn't even going to say anything about this on the show because this is something that had been quiet, but it cannot be quiet anymore. Our good friend of the show, Mr. John Dugan, who played Grandpa in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, has come with us to a couple of shows. He's been to, he went to the Oasis. He hasn't been to Dermal Ridge yet, but him and Stacy have been to the Oasis and the pool and everything. Friends of the show, friends of ours. John had a cancer in his mouth, on the bottom of his mouth, and it went to his jaw. They had to have some reconstructive surgery, and they had to take a bone out of him, put it back into his jaw, and it even went to his lymph nodes, and he had to get some radiation for it. So if that's not bad enough, they tried to send the poor guy home way too early. So he basically a half hour later had to turn around and go back with a frickin' infection of some sort. So he's back in the hospital. The poor guy's got a tracheotomy, which I do believe is temporary. I've been told that, but I do believe this is a temporary thing while he heals. Okay, he's a mess right now. He needs some help. Yeah. They do have a GoFundMe page. If you go to John Dugan's Facebook page or his lovely wife, Stacy, they do have links. I have put up links. I will be putting up links on the Tim and Harley show by the time you read this to go to. It's only a $5,000 goal, and at this point I believe they're at about $3,500. They just started this last night, so that's awesome. In the space-time continuum last night, so it's going to be about 5 days before you hear this if you listen on Sunday. So just if you can, $5, anything, and even if they reach their goal, I don't think there's any law against going over the limit. So yes.
I don't think so.
You know, we do not. I am not a GoFundMe person. I believe it is professional panhandling. I've seen a lot of people ask for money to get to a convention. I've seen people ask for money to fix their carburetors and stuff. Well, I can tell you that this one's okay, and they did not want to do it at all. They didn't know. They did not know what else to do, and so they have basically swallowed their pride to do this. So I think as friends, we can say, okay, you're not asking for a artistic project. You're not asking for an automobile fix. You're not asking for groceries this week. You're asking for life, basically. And sometimes the way I feel about it and John's been great to everybody. He's one of those good guys, right? He's been good to me, along the road, doing shirts for him and things like that. He always, always fun. We've had, got to go to dinner with him numerous occasions and have a lot of fun with those guys. And it's sad. And he's a great guy. He is. And he never drank that Kool-Aid at the conventions where just because he is from a very popular movie, he does not believe he's better than anybody else. He will sit down and talk to you no matter who you are. And he doesn't play that game. He doesn't do it. No, he's not too snobby or good for anybody. I'll put it to you this way. This is what I told Angio. Now, Ben Harley, I think we might be both sort of Hoosiers, as I call them.
Okay.
Some people call it redneck.
It's
not really a redneck.
Not a hoser, right?
Yeah, no, not a hoser. It's not really a redneck. A Hoosier is more of let's just say a small town guy that likes his redneck things, but isn't really a redneck. He's just kind of a Hoosier. He's just sort of I don't know. He was very apt to have a Camaro and a mullet, which I like to call an ape drape. Back in the 80s. So love it. Yeah. But we have rules. You don't fight a dude for his girlfriend. It's just, redneck Hoosier, crazy white dude rules. Okay. One of them is you come to somebody's house, you bring your own beer and you bring it in a cooler. Right. John Dugan, I can't confirm, will bring his own beer to your place in a cooler. That's all I need to know about a guy. And you know how I am, Mr. Ben Harley. I'm looking at those things,
It could be in a bucket, right, Tim?
As a matter of fact, my good friend Scott Morris from the Bob Band used to practice with the beer in a bucket, and every time he grabbed a beer, he said, "Fuck it, it's a bucket."
There you go.
grab his beer, out of a bucket at band practice. So pretty sure the fishing bucket too. So Hoosier would be more of a guy that would rather go fish than burn a cross. Let's put it that way. So that's what I mean by Hoosier. So anyway, if you can give, thank you for listening, and we don't do this at all hardly. To help anybody, but it's a little different. I know firsthand. I wasn't even going to say anything on the show. Stacy was giving me updates, and they were keeping it quiet. And I respect that. I understand why. Our good friend Danny Hicks had a surgery. He kept it quiet, and we tried to keep it quiet. We just said he was on the mend and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's my story, Mr. Ben Harley. Yeah. And if you guys can give, John's a good guy. So Stacy.
Yeah. And please do, and John is a good guy, and Stacy both. And Stacy's a great gal.
She's not really a guy.
I want to clarify that.
Great gal. Yeah,
she's a great gal. So, and John, like I said, he's been good to me, to both of us, and as well, and a lot of fun, and hopefully he can get on the mend and get back soon.
Absolutely. So I think it can happen. They just need some help because of having to go back in the hospital. That messed with the finance part. So that's what happened. Sure. So they're not. It's not like they didn't prepare for this. It's like they didn't prepare for things to screw up, which it happens sometimes. And Ben Harley, we have special needs kids. We've spent enough time around doctors and mistakes, right? I mean, I got killed with one arm thanks to a mistake.
I'm still. Ruby's 200 pounds now because I think of a mistake.
Really? I believe you. So, Well, thank you to the listening audience. I'm sure you'll be generous and give. And speaking of generous and giving, we need to sweep this aside real quick here. Because we need to do some talking about professional wrestling and the value of being a heel in professional wrestling. So Mr. Ben Harley just got off of his big show at the car dealership there in Oregon, Ohio, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Big dealership out there. Had a big free show and lots of people showed up, and the potentate of hate went and scared families, scared little kids, and then took pictures with them.
Yeah, well, one lucky little guy. He was lucky. He's lucky because, I said, you got about 10 seconds, punk, before these two take you apart.
Right. You look like a lollipop kid.
Right.
So how'd your show go? How did the potentate of hate make out in Oregon?
Oh, Ohio. He did well in Oregon. I don't know if Oregon is going to welcome him back with open arms anytime soon.
Right.
But... yes, no, it went very well, Timo. Let's just say it was a hot day, my friend. Very hot and outdoors.
Right.
But it was really nice. The setup for it was nice. They had it pretty close to the road, which is Route 2. I should take you right there to Cedar Point, Timo, and you know where Cedar Point is.
I sure do.
Right? So, do. So there's a lot of cars that go by there, so I didn't even think about that. So upon arrival, my friend, I thought this is going to be really nice. You're going to get some people, just passersby, coming in. So, the show started at 1:00, and we there weren't really
the real
doors.
Cool
Timo.
Time of the day. Right.
Yeah, and there really weren't doors, Timo. There's a couple of doors. So let's say the doors opened, or people could start milling in around noon. So it did. Fill up pretty good, and it was nice. I had some Potentate of Hate shirts and some new Circus of Pain shirts available to annoy your friends and enemies.
Right.
Yeah. So it went really well as far as people showing up and things like that. Like I said, it was mighty hot. So I went with my Johnny Paycheck ensemble, maybe a little bit more this time.
Right.
So I went with my loudest yellow shirt mostly because I didn't want to melt.
Right.
I'm very white.
Yes.
And I thought, well, at least I could blind the people in the first row or first 3 rows if my shirt came off.
Right. Distraction.
Right. Exactly. So. Timo, it was a great experience. Had a lot of people there that hadn't seen me do my shtick before. Some, have seen it, on tape or whatever, but it was nice to see their faces in the place, right? And and I got to do a spot before the match, or do a little promo before the match. And that went pretty well. I only stumbled maybe a little, but I got my point across, and that's all that matters, Timo.
Right.
You know, that's all that matters. And when you're as mad and hateful as I am, sometimes, you know.
Oh yeah, you get shook up real easy.
Right.
Yeah, gee whiz.
That's right. You know, so, and like you and I have talked, we've seen Ric Flair almost have damn near strokes. Honestly,
and enjoy it.
And enjoy it. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it went well. Pedo and Genghis fulfilled their part of the bargain.
Yeah.
Or their
They win? Did they win?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh, they beat him up. Then they did good.
I don't even know who those two Hammeneggers were, and it doesn't matter, Timo.
Right.
It does not matter. But yeah, it was a really nice time. I was back in the back for most of it. You know, we were third and of 6 matches, but I did come out a little bit and watch some of the. There's a girls' match, Tim. I know you'd have been excited. I won't even tell you about.
I don't want to. Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's early in the morning, and I ain't got a shirt on.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I came out and watched some of the other matches, which was fun, and a lot of people stuck around, and some people milled in and out. So I think throughout the day there might have been 500 people that maybe it came through.
That's
or
great.
More.
Yeah,
and at the height of it, there's probably 250 to 300. Constantly. So that wasn't bad. That was good, and people were into it and stuff. And if they weren't, I made sure to let them know about it.
Right.
So yeah, I must say it was a lot of fun, Timo. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
All
Thank you, Timo, for asking. And it was a great time. I will be posting some stuff.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there wants some Potato Hate shirts and or Circus of Pain shirts, I know a guy who sells them.
Yeah, you can go on Facebook and you can find pages for the Circus of Pain.
Yes.
For Potato Hate. And not only that, but you can go
Handsome Devil.
You can go to YouTube and you can find Powerbomb Wrestling, and it's the one up in Ohio, obviously.
Yeah, and it's just Powerbomb Wrestling. If you search Toledo or just Powerbomb Wrestling, you'll find it. And there's some good matches there. And I think you will really like the ones that we just did. I think it's going to be great. We have another show coming up this month, but this one was good. And I'm proud of the guys, and I'm proud of the company, and hopefully it's a turning point for them.
Did they tape that for TV, the outdoor thing?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it will be on that YouTube thing.
Yes,
I do know you can also the Norm the Weighty Waymer. I know he also has a YouTube channel.
The whale Waymer, you mean?
Yeah. So I know he has a YouTube channel that he also posts that stuff. I think most of the time if I look for Powerbomb Wrestling, his name pops up on YouTube, and then I find it.
Yeah, he produces it and stuff, and that, which is cool. And we're here in Toledo. And we're on the main station, Timo, not the Point 2 or nothing.
You're in high def.
Right after a Ring of Honor Wrestling. It's kind of late, but hey, people stay up late, right?
Yeah.
So
that's when the cool shit's
so every
on.
Saturday night, right? So every Saturday, I guess Sunday morning, Saturday night, whatever you want to call it, we are on, and then new every week. So yeah, and thanks, Timo. Thanks for promoting it, buddy.
No problem. No problem at all.
Too busy being a jerk.
All right, I had to step in.
Thanks, my friend.
Your snooty lawyer had to step in
exactly.
here.
Hey, you know what? I think I might need a lawyer. My brother needs one, I think, too.
Oh, really?
He got pushed by Pedo.
I don't want Pedo's on my docket. He's on my docket.
Yeah. I don't want to get sued by you, really. He said he was taking names, and so I don't know. My brother was taking names, so it could be trouble. I don't know. I haven't received anything in the mail yet.
I'll get an injunction against him. That's what I'll do, and then we'll work that out there. I'll go to the Supreme Court and do that because that's what we do. I know I'm a smart lawyer. I know these things. So, Ben Harley, we've in the space time continuum. We've been without recording for 2 weeks. I got a hell of a lot of stuff I watched. I'm gonna try to get through them really fast here, and it's not gonna happen. So we're gonna have a jam-packed show, I guarantee, because I know you got stuff you want to talk about too, besides wrestling. I wanted to make sure I mentioned our vacation, Mr. Dugan's GoFundMe, and wanted to make sure we talked about your wrestling. So we've done that, and now it's time to jump into what we watched. buckle up, brace yourself. Here we go. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, tie your shoes on tight.
That's right.
Blow right off. Yeah.
I'm going to try to get through this here as quickly as I can, which will be long. Probably so. All right. Here up. Riff tracks. Got a riff tracks, Mr. Ben Harley. 2 of them. Watch 2 riff tracks.
Timo, can I tell you something real quick?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you.
No, you did.
So the other day, you'll be proud of me, and I'm happy. I heard it on the on the show, at the wrestling show, when I went back and watched the video as I was leaving, giving the business about Jerry Graham. Oh, I didn't mean to say his name.
Anyways, you did it.
Yeah. Some guy said, "Hey, buddy, where'd you come from? Mystery Science Theater?" I stopped it, went back and played it, and sure enough, he said, "Hey, buddy, where'd you come from? Mystery Science Theater." And I thought, "Oh, Tim will be proud." So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, that was good.
Yeah.
And bowing down to that, I watched 2 good ones. Watched Ator, the Fighting Eagle.
Ooh.
With our good friend, Mr. Miles O'Keefe, that just is not my good friend. I got really deep-seated reasons why I don't like Miles O'Keefe. So let's see. Moving forward, so that was fun, and then Guy from Harlem. Oh, what a good one!
Oh, yeah,
that's a good one.
Yes,
that's a good one. So we got those 2, and they were both on Prime, so it's kind of fun to go back and watch those.
Yeah.
Let's see here from 1954, Mr. Ben Harley. Got a movie that I bought. I
like the 50s.
I do too, and I bought this movie because I had actually read. I said READ. I read the story. Okay, when I was in high school, I had to. Had to read it for like English class or something like that. In a textbook. It wasn't a long story. In a textbook, and the book, I believe, I can't remember exactly. I mean, this is a textbook. I don't have the book, but I believe that the story was called Lanningen versus the Ants, or Lanningen and the Ants. And the movie that I watched with Mr. Charlton Heston was called The Naked Jungle.
Okay.
And it is about a guy who has some kind of like plantation or something in the jungle. Gets basically a mail order bride that comes for a little love sassiness, I guess, in the story.
Yeah.
And Marabunta happens. You ever heard of this? This is like in, I think, Africa or whatever, when the ants go fucking nuts. And
I am from Tanzania, or I spent some time in Tanzania. So yeah, maybe a little. I might know a little bit.
Okay, so the Marabunta happens then. So the army of ants that eats everything in its path, like once every 50 years or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah,
was going on. So he battles that. Yeah. So it's sort of a jungle adventure, Charlton Heston, with little touches of nature horror.
Yeah, it sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
It's a good movie. It's a pretty good movie. And the funny thing is that Charlton Heston is just a complete dickhole in the whole movie, and the woman is just falling in love with him. How can she not?
Yeah,
how can she not?
He probably took his shirt off, and it was all over.
He did. I was upset about that. I've had a lot of bare-chested men going across my screen. I gotta smack my wife around a little bit so she don't look at that. If I smack her too hard, she sees double and then she's excited. So I don't want to go too crazy. I did tell you that I would report back the last show that we did go to the drive-in, and we did go see Hotel Transylvania 3. Yeah. So we did not go over and see the new Jurassic Park movie. It's too late. And it was on this, there's 2 screens there. It was on the smaller screen and it was packed. And I don't like people sitting right next to me. I can't stand that in drive-in. So we were on the big screen out in no man's land.
There wasn't at your house.
No, I don't. There wasn't. But we at the drive-in, there wasn't anybody within like 50 yards of us. It was like I parked so far out that it was hard to see the screen.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Right there,
So, but remember I told you, like, I always get upset with the guy that sits in the back of his truck and he cranks his radio up and shit. It's like, turn your shit down. There's other people here. Well, this time, Mr. Ben Harley, I'm sitting there watching this movie, all right? And there's this minivan driving real slow around the whole parking lot with its fucking lights on, right? That's a smart thing to do right in the middle of the first feature, right?
He wasn't stalking, was he?
Well, and then I sat there and I was watching him. I looked over to Angie. I go, Angie, did they park in the throughway? Like, park in the exit? And she said, yes, I do believe they did. So they sat there for 10 minutes making me angry. I wasn't leaving. I was getting angry that they sat there with their lights on. Then they started pulling away real slow and finally went over way across the drive-in to the other screen. Okay?
Yeah.
Then they pulled okay, into a parking spot. All right. I'm assuming they just turn their lights off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But see, I think they were like kids, like millennials or something. And they were sitting there, I do believe, with their air conditioning running in their car.
Okay.
I did, even across the parking lot, I could see the screen of a phone bouncing light off of some young lady's face. Okay. Yeah. So some chick was parked.
At the drive-in.
Yeah, somebody was parked at the drive-in with the air conditioning on, playing on her phone in the middle of a crowded parking lot. Now, Mr. Ben Harley, you're not a mechanic or anything. I know this.
No,
you're not a mechanic,
no,
okay? But what happens when you leave your car running?
The battery dies.
Well, no, the car running. Your car running. What happens when you leave your car running?
The gas runs out?
No, let's put it this way. Even if you park and you turn your lights off, what happens if your car is still running? You still have parking lights on.
Right. Well,
not all the lights turn off, right? Just the headlights turn off, right?
Right.
Well, I know that because I stared at this idiot's lights for about a fucking hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I looked over to Angela and said, "This is why I can't stand these places. I can't stand public. I can't stand going to places where you have to depend on other people's courtity. I can't stand it.
They don't have any.
No,
that's
they don't.
The problem, man. That's the problem. Yeah, and
they were.
You could get carbon monoxide poisoning from sitting there too.
I know.
While his car is running.
They were almost as bad as that idiot. Like, I was parked out in no man's land for my own reasons. I didn't want people to smell or look and see what was going on. Nothing. Yeah. And they're almost like the idiot who parks right next to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like when you're sitting in, let's say church, or let's say a lecture or something. Yeah. You're clearly someone who likes personal space. So you sit way out in no man's land in this, and then some fat person comes up and sits right next to you so their fat hip is touching yours. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
Yeah. It's not that fat guy. No, I it's funny. Yeah, you like to survey an area or a room, and you like to be in a comfortable spot, and then people have to come and invade your little area. I understand. I
drives me crazy, Mr. Ben Harley. Drives me crazy.
That's crazy. Why you come out of the house.
I was upset, and it wasn't even really bothering me. It was on the other screen.
Yeah,
it wasn't bothering me. So we did just watch Hotel Transylvania 3. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It is what it is. You know, I
haven't seen all of it. I've seen bits and pieces. I like the first one. You know, it was good. But yeah, I have to check that one out.
It's not horribly bad. It's fairly topical, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's see here. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. Angio and I sat down and watched from 1973. Right? Okay. That's the year I was made.
That's the year I was born.
So we watched Westworld.
Oh, okay.
With James Brolin. This guy named Richard Benjamin, I think we're going to be talking about here. In a little bit. Yeah, this is Westworld has the mustachioed Richard Benjamin in it, and Yul Brynner, and I forgot
the handsome man Brynner.
Oh yeah, and I forgot Dick Van Patten was in that too. Totally forgot that he was in Westworld. So
it's been a little while since I've seen that.
It's a pretty good flick.
It tripped me out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Well, Yul Brynner is like a proto Michael Myers almost in that movie. You know,
walking weird.
around. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So good time watching that. That was fun. Let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. Oops, I did not write down the year for this. I do believe this was like 1990, 91, maybe or something like that. The Kenneth Branagh film Dead Again.
Ooh, okay.
Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson, and a very good cameo by one Robin Williams, who tells the story about smoking cigarettes that I always tell people. He is an old therapist he's a defrocked therapist working in like a meat cooler or something. And Kenneth Branagh keeps coming to him, asking him for psychology advice for a case he's working on. And Robin Williams just looks up at him and says, You want my smoke? You want a cigarette? He goes, no, I don't smoke. He goes, well, according to the way you're fiddling with your pen, yes, you do. You know, and he said, listen, he goes, there's two kinds of people in the world. There's smokers and there's non-smokers. Figure out which one you are and be that.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So
it is, I
always said that was pretty good. He goes, if you're not a smoker, he said, you'll know. You'll know.
Yeah.
Of course, later in the film, he catches up with an old makeup up Andy Garcia, who's smoking out of his trach hole, and And he asked for a smoke, and Andy Garcia asked for a smoke, and he goes, "Here, take the pack. I just quit." So that was pretty good. I thought that was good. But I always like Robin Williams thing, so I'll be laying there with my own tracheotomy going, "Watch Robin Williams," still hanging on to my insanity, so next up, Mr. Ben Harley from 1957. 1957. Watched starring Richard Denning.
Denning.
Mara Corriday. And Carlos Rivas.
One more time.
Carlos Rivas. The Black Scorpion. Watch the Black Scorpion.
Black Scorpion. Oh, goodness. Yeah.
I always thought that was Ray Harryhausen. That was actually Willis O'Brien. King Kong
right.
Willis O'Brien. I forgot about that. So not too bad. I had some fun watching that. Yeah.
It's okay. There's that's kind of like almost a Western horror movie.
A little bit. Mexican.
Yeah,
kind of down there. Southwest. Yeah.
It's West to me.
Yeah. Westworld. Whatever.
West of me, I guess.
Right.
I do like the Mystery Science version, but I have watched both.
Right. Well, I like to watch Mark Corday, so that we were doing okay there. Let's see here. Angio and I watched from 1944. Okay. The Mummy's Ghost.
Oh, the Ghost of the Mummy's Ghost?
That's right. Yep. So we watched that's one John Carradine, George Zucco, Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
So good time. Good time watching that. Yeah, pretty good time. We got one more to go, and it's the one with Gooby. So
Gooby.
Yeah, we've been on a self-imposed mummy. We've been on a self-imposed mummy freak out. So we got one more to go.
That's good though.
Speaking of freakouts, Mr. Ben Harley,
going slow.
It is going slow. Yeah. Speaking of a freakout, Mr. Ben Harley, we have continued our John Carpenter freakout.
Nice.
And from 1992, we watched Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Believe it or not, I pulled that one out of the side pocket, didn't I?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow, I forgot about that one.
Yep. So with old Chevy Chase, Sam Neill, and Daryl Hannah. I am sorry. I don't care what kind of card I need to turn in or nothing like that. That movie is completely, it's way better than people say it is. Me and Angie are watching this. I don't think she had seen it before.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I told her this movie was maligned when it came out. Maligned. And I told her, I said, looking back at history, I'm pretty sure it had a hell of a lot more to do with Chevy Chase trying to be a little more straight. Because you got to remember, he was just getting a little older there. And, like his career was still good. He was still in the movies, but the movies weren't as good and they weren't doing quite as well. So he was just on that little downturn in his career. And so what do you do? Yeah, ask Jim Carrey. Different. You try to do something dark, or you try to do something that's a little more dramatic, I guess. However, an Invisible Man movie, I don't consider quite as dramatic as melodramatic in a way, But I think this movie is unfairly forgotten. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a really good movie. Me and Angio were completely entertained watching it, and she had this kind of attitude, like, I can't believe. Like, we don't watch this more.
Yeah, right.
So much shit.
Damn, Timo. Jeez, where you been sitting on this for?
So, but I highly recommend going back and seeing this.
Yeah, I might have to.
Yeah,
I remember watching it when it first came out and stuff, and but that's a long time ago.
Well, I think it depends on what you're looking for in it. If you're just looking for an entertaining movie that. I need
more entertainment, Tim.
Well, and I think Chevy Chase is actually pretty funny in it, but he's not. Yeah. But I think some of the humor might have stuck out at that time because all of us were watching with bated breath. Is Chevy Chase going to make us laugh or not?
Yeah,
and I think people got a little distracted by it. But the effects are wonderful in it. It's like, when he's smoking. And the smoke goes down in his lungs and comes back out. The fact that he has to eat clear foods because you can see it and stuff. I just think it's cool as crap, Yeah. So anyway, that's Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Go back and check it out. Oh, another one, Mr. Ben Harley went back and watched. I do believe this was 86, maybe I could be wrong. I didn't write down the date on this either.
Not a bad year.
Well, no, but there was a little bitty movie called Aliens.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
No?
Yeah, no.
It was a pretty big movie. It is about space.
Yeah, Alien. Okay, lay it on me.
That's right. So we had fun watching that, and actually, I'm going to sample a line from this movie, and you're going to know why.
Some good ones. Yeah.
I'm going to sample it. I'm going to build a whole song around it. I'm going to build a whole song around it, and it's when the African American, like the sergeant guy from all the military guys, says, "Somebody wake up, Hicks."
Somebody wake up, Hicks.
Yeah.
Atta boy. Yeah,
it's going to be about taking naps and waking up, Hicks. Yeah. Can't wait for that one.
I love it, yeah.
Let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. Now I'm getting to the meat of it. I'm kind of rushing through this because some stuff I want to talk to you about. Okay.
Yeah, you just rushed through Aliens.
I did rush through Aliens a little bit, but we'll go back and look at it. We'll go back and talk about it sometime. It was fun to watch. You know, I have the Alien, the multi thing, like the big edition of all the films that came out. I don't know. It's 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had the old Blu-ray, the standalone Blu-ray of Aliens, the first Blu-ray of Aliens that came out that looked fucking terrible, looked awful.
Did it really?
This Blu-ray looked wonderful. So it's fun to watch because of that.
That was shot well, that movie, I thought.
Well, it was, but there's some Blu-rays and some DVDs that come out that don't look as good as they could. And
you would know, my man.
Oh, yeah, I do. And the one that was in like the big pack, the Alien, the real nice Alien, you know, it's got the Alien on the back. The box is real pretty and everything. Looks really good. So whatever transfers are coming out now, it should be really good, in case anybody's wondering. Speaking of that, Mr. Ben Harley, and about transfers and this and that, I got on Blu-ray from 2006 the movie Abominable.
Yes, you've been talking to me about this.
I have been. I'd like to report the movie has been rebuilt from the 35 millimeter print. Now, Mr. Ben Harley, when I saw this on DVD, which is all we had for about 10 years for this movie, when I saw it on DVD, I thought it might have been shot on, I don't know, possibly a VHS camcorder or something like that, because it looked horrible. And this movie looks like nothing you've seen. It's completely brand new, almost like shot for shot. It was reshot in a way. They did. When they put it together, they have an intro by the director, who just happens to be the composer Lalo Schifrin's son. If people listen to the show for a long time know that Mr. J.D. Fagelson from Dark Knight Scarecrow was talking about his wonderful film Dark Knight Scarecrow, one of my favorites from when I was a kid. And he talked about how lucky he was to get Lalo Schifrin to do the music. And I remember telling you, I don't know who this Lalo Schifrin guy is. Ever since I have said that and have put it to digital tape into the world, I have seen Lalo Schifrin about twice a week watching movies, and it's the big ones. So it is Ryan, I believe it's Ryan Schifrin, his son, and Lalo did the music for this movie as well. So that's pretty awesome. Cool. But he does come out and does explain. Does like a little commentary before the movie, a little introduction.
Okay.
He does explain they had to repiece this movie back together because it was almost all files and stuff. This is 2006 technology, trying to get from 35 millimeter onto a digital format. So they clumsily did it. I think they'd run out of money, and they did the best they could do. And that crap DVD that came out is what we got. Well, they went back and they basically rescanned everything, rebuilt the movie. So it's the same movie, but they apparently those stupid glowing eyes on the Bigfoot. Oh god, didn't it look? Made it look like a bug alien. This is dumb. Well, those were CG'd. I did not know that those were CG'd in. So all they did was they re-CG'd in different eyes for the Sasquatch. That looks so much better. They're like white eyes with pupils and everything. Oh, it's so much creepier, so much better. It still looks a little goofy. Just a little goofy. But it's a hell of a lot better. And the movie looks wonderful on it. So I'd like to tell people, yes, it's a new company. MVP, I think. That put it out, a newer company to me anyway. New Blu-ray DVD company, home video company. I was actually fairly impressed with the difference. I was actually very impressed with the difference, and I was freaking out the whole movie. I told Angie, like, I'm going to be excited watching this movie, just seeing people's cheekbones. You know, just seeing whiskers and stuff on people's faces. But what a cast too! You got the fun Jeffrey Combs. Small part, Lance Henriksen and stuff like that. It's a good movie. And Tiffany Shepis too. Tiffany Teffis, who's friends of everybody that goes to the shows. She's very sweet. Very sweet
nice
gal. Yes.
Yeah.
And I blushed a little. I blushed a little. She got a little naked in it. Blushed a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Gave the old Angio trouble after watching those Charlton Heston muscles. I got some Tiffany Shepard's butt.
Yeah.
I like that butt. So so anyway, but all kidding aside, lots of fun watching it, and man, it's really worth getting for that new transfer. Okay, so moving on.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Ben Harley. Yes. On Amazon Prime, there is a documentary called "Taking the Curve." Okay.
I think I've heard something about that. So I came across this.
It's about flat earthers.
Yes, that's where I heard about it. Timo told me about it.
Folks, the Earth is not flat. Okay?
Sure it is, Timo. Now, you can look out. If you go up on a building, if you look out, it looks flat. There's no roundness to it at all.
All right, Mr. Ben Harley says it looks flat. Survey says.
I'm just waiting to fall off one of these days when I go for a long trip.
Right. Well, like the meme that goes around Facebook says, if the Earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off the side of it by now. So here's what they think. So you think, how can this be? I mean, people take flights and stuff. So their theory is that the North Pole is a center, and everything is on a disk around it. Antarctica is an actual mountain shelf that goes around the edge and holds everything in, and everything spins around it. Or goes around it. Right.
Oh, wait. Yeah, okay.
It's not easy to explain because it's pretty stupid. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Copernicus is going, I tried to tell these people what the fuck is going on. But anyway, so the thing is that, okay, so I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm going to watch this because I go into these things with an open mind. Okay. Right. I went into a long time ago, Ben Harlan. We've talked about this years ago on the show. I went into a Bigfoot documentary with an open mind.
Yeah.
And it was about the Patterson film, which I had completely dismissed years before. Like, guy in a suit.
Yeah.
And my world was turned upside down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it was turned upside down. So I'll go into these with an open mind. I like people who think outside the box. That's fine. All right. But these people are thinking they're not thinking much at all. They talk to 4 quote researchers. And one of them is this Muslim girl with a thing over her face so you can't see her and stuff. But she talks like a spoiled inner city brat. Okay. Really? And she sits there and goes, I just, you look around and it's flat, right? It's we're not on a ball. It's flat. You can see. I walk straight. I walk into a wall. It's flat. This is a researcher.
This is a researcher?
Yeah. And the only thing that they really, well, first of all the NASA shit's faked, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
of course it is. I mean,
and the video you see is either
paintings of the moon.
Yeah, the videos you see are either faked or this with a fisheye lens. So of course I'm yelling questions at the TV how the fuck do you explain eclipses? What about the eclipse? The eclipse is because we have an anti-moon. It's invisible. It's invisible until it goes in front of the sun. Then it becomes so visible it blocks the sun's light out. How the fuck does that make sense? Do you know what invisible means? Invisible only means
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, right. Invisible only means one thing. One thing, Mr. Ben Harley. It means you do not reflect light. That's it.
Right.
Because we only see light. This is why it's almost impossible to see my dog Shay, especially at night. She's so damn black, she absorbs light like you wouldn't believe. And you've seen it. It's nuts. She'll be right at your feet. You wouldn't even know. So there's a problem. So their proof is things like, the old ocean thing. It's if a boat is going away from you, it should disappear into the curvature of the earth. But they're saying it's not, that it's doing something else. It's for God's sake. I got a couple questions for myself. If you can explain how people have flown over the earth, but they're all part of the conspiracy. Everybody in NASA is part of the conspiracy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so another one of their things is that apparently my first reaction is, well, then how the fuck do you explain pilots? They fly straight across the globe. And I think they have a theory that there's like a evil like little gyroscope thing in planes causing to pull them over to one side. Like, oh, okay. Well, then how do you explain someone who is navigating the seas? Do they have to keep turning to the right a little bit?
Well, the compasses are evil too.
Yeah. Well, they don't believe in gravity. They don't believe in gravity. That's here's the thing. This has to do with the Bible, religion, and gravity. Okay. So they don't believe in gravity. If they can take gravity out of the equation, they can make any shit up they want. That's basically what's going on. So you have to sit there and say that there's no such thing as gravity, that the universe is ran on a electromagnetic system, not gravity. What? Come on, people.
Yeah,
I mean, Jesus Christ, we got enough things, you know? I mean, it's like, what? Seriously? What happens is they say like, well, how come when you're flying a plane, it looks flat? No, it doesn't.
No,
the Earth does not look flat. I have flown very high in the air because I've gone very far. I've been to England and stuff. The Earth is round. Trust me, I've seen it. Just let me tell you guys, believe me in this. I talk a lot of shit, but I'm telling you right now, as I sit here, it's round. It's not a ball. It's not a perfect circle. That's, I think, where they get it. And then they say all the NASA footage was CGI. And I'm like, yeah, all that CGI they had back in '69.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they started, they invented it. So
right. So they're basically saying that NASA is admitting that they're faking photos because they make composite photos. Like you can't take a picture of the Earth unless you're really, really far away from it.
Oh, really?
Well, right.
Right. Well,
I mean, you can't. I mean, think about if you're on the space station and you want to take a picture of the entire globe with a camera.
Right. Right.
So start thinking about that. I mean, you can't. Yeah, you can't go back that far. You can't. You're not on the moon. You know what I'm saying? You're just in orbit. You're not. You can take a picture of a part of it. It won't fit in your field of view. Right. So some of the photos they do, they put stuff together. Some of the photos they've actually cropped together. Of course they have, for artistic reasons and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, not everything's nefarious, And they talk about like the planes. It's like, well, if the Earth is round, then how come planes don't have to keep nosing their nose down when it's going around? I'm like, okay, see, the reason you're saying that is because you've taken gravity off the table.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can say any stupid bullshit you want, but and so there's really nothing. There's nothing to the argument except things that they're like, what about this? What about this? Which is all explained by gravity.
Right.
So you take gravity off the table, it's the Wild West, right? I mean, you just take it off there. Yeah. So it's going crazy. And the other thing, and I'm not kidding you, it's their visual interpretation.
Yeah.
They look around and they see it flat. It's not flat. Nothing's flat.
No.
I mean, you understand the Earth is much bigger than you are, right? You're not going to perceive it at all sitting on the ground. So it's just, it's, to be honest with you, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. It's like to watch it. You just kind of put I literally, and I'm Ben Harley, we watch all kinds of conspiracy whack job shit. I mean, between the two of us, I watch everything from all the ancient alien stuff, the forgotten civilizations, human over millions of years. The fact I watch stuff where they think that maybe dinosaurs lived as long as humans. I watch all this stuff with a little bit of fascination, and there's some evidence there. But here's the thing. We weren't there. We don't know. So it's more fascinating to stimulate your mind. Ask questions that might be kind of goofy to ask. You might trip onto something, even if it's not the exact thing you're looking for. This is retarded. I mean, this is dumb.
Yeah.
It's just like, I could say I get what you're saying, but I don't get what you're saying because it makes no sense at all. It just doesn't make any sense at all, Mr. Ben Harley. I'll be the first one to back you up if there's something that seems kind of fishy about stuff. No. All right. Are you kidding me? The thousands and thousands and thousands of employees. It's basically like most of the country keeping a secret from about 100 people who think the Earth's flat. We're all in on it, man.
Yeah.
We've been told since we was young about the ball Earth. Stupid ball. Oh, what do we just don't fall off it, do we? Oh God. See, there's no gravity. Okay. Again, it's called taking
gravity.
Yeah, I know it's called Taking the Curve. It is really embarrassing. If you've seen this, if you've heard about this and curious as to why people think this, go ahead and watch this movie. But I guarantee you're going to walk out of it going, I still don't know why they got something against gravity or something.
Yeah, they do.
Isaac Newton is like kind of like a bad dude to them, you know.
What a jerk that guy. Yeah.
Whatever. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. Real quick, I almost forgot. From 1981, me and Angio went back and watched Wolfen.
Wolfen.
I do like me some Wolfen. We were talking about that wasn't your favorite, but it's one of mine. So I love that movie, but I know what I'm getting into. It's not really a horror movie. I know it came out during the werewolf cycle, but
it did.
It did, but I mean, if you go into it knowing what it is, I think it's just a cool movie. It's really well made, and I love Albert Finney and Gregory Hines. You know.
Yeah, I do too.
So I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I know you do. It's more a thinking man's werewolf.
A little bit
movie, but it doesn't have enough werewolf for a guy like me. They're wolves, but I get it. I get it. Yeah,
they're mean sons of bitches, though. They don't look happy. It's not easy to make a wolf look scary to me because I think they're cute and beautiful, and like they kind of make them
snarling.
Kind of make them look pretty good in that one. So not quite American Werewolf in London. That's still the best one to me. That's like woo, that's a face. It's a face for radio. You know,
it sure is.
Yeah. So
and I got a face. Well, how's it go, Tim? I got a face for radio and a voice for print.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is. Yeah.
Right. So, all right, moving on.
I'm sticking with it. Yeah.
Got a couple Bigfoot things here. Things
thank
here.
You.
Yeah. Yay. So this is all on Amazon Prime. I've been digging my way to this, and I apologize. I mean, this is going to be a long show. We warned everybody. So, first up, a documentary called Bigfoot Encounters. Okay. So, these are. I think this was a short one. I think there was two of them. One of them was shorter. But so you have to forgive me. It's been 2 weeks. I've got a whole page of shit written down here. This one does have Meldrum in it a little bit.
Okay.
Again, Bigfoot Encounters. It's a southern Bigfoot. So they're researching the southern Bigfoot, which as we know at least we know, is kind of known or thought to be a little smaller, more gaunt, a little more athletic, and more aggressive. Actually,
pissed off.
A little more pissed off, and some of them have 3 toes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of weird. Yeah,
that is weird.
I do.
I'm not going there.
No. But this is pretty cool. They're against making noise. They whisper to each other. They do this during the day. Okay. All right. I like this guy. Like this. It's something that's very calm and very adult. They talk about things. They're being very quiet. They're trying to find stuff. Ain't find shit. But still, it's not too bad.
Trying.
Yeah, they're trying. Yeah. So I moved on to The Trail to Bigfoot, Giants in the Swamp.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of that one.
All right. It's also on Amazon Prime. Now, these guys are excited about their brand new shiny parabolic mic. Through a swamp.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. They're after howls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ben Harley.
Yes, sir.
You've been here, right?
Yeah. I've been there.
You've been here. You've heard some blood curdling roars, right?
Yeah, we heard some stuff.
All right. Now owls. Turkeys and owls will make you poop your little panties. Sometimes, stuff like that. So if you hear something, okay, and you're like, oh, that's a coyote or something like that, what on earth makes you think if you scream in the woods, you're fooling a Bigfoot?
Right, exactly. I don't know.
If the Bigfoot can't fool you, and I will quote Bobo. That's a squatch. I'm going to quote Matt Moneymaker and Bobo at the same time.
Yeah.
I know that's a squatch. Okay, so if you're so brilliant, then why do you think you can fool a Sasquatch into believing you're anything but human?
Right.
So
I'll go on with you on that too.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. I mean, it's just, they never mind. All right. Move on. I'm sorry.
These people. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, it's like these animals, they first off, a Bigfoot knows you're around.
Right.
If, and I'm a believer, so I'm going to say, yes, Bigfoot knows you're around. something that lives in the woods like that knows, and Timo, you know my voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I yelled, Timo, I fell in some quicksand, you'd say that, oh my God, Harley's in some quicksand. You might not say, Danny Hicks is in some quicksand because it doesn't sound like Danny Hicks, right? So if these Bigfoots, and if they are communal and things like that, I'm sure they know, you know what I mean? They're probably just like, I don't know. I just picture Bigfoot sitting out there laughing or, kind of like at that Matt Moneymaker, So I don't know. It just makes no sense to me that they think that they're so smart,
right?
But they're that dumb too,
right? Okay, so, well, even our good friend Mr. Sir Ian Baird, he's not a big Bigfoot guy, believe it or not. He loves conspiracy theories, loves aliens, like that. And he even said, he's like, look, I'm not against it. Of course, I believe it's possible. It's out there. He just doesn't get into it as much. But he even said, you go out in the woods, you just be glad the bobcats don't jump on your head because they're up in the trees. You don't see them, He's like, there's a lot of stuff you're not seeing. You're walking right through, and people just laugh at people like us. Like, bro, look up. There's a bobcat drooling on the fucking top of your head, wanting to take your ears off. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But so they got the mics and stuff. So I just, something I had thought of, it's very simple, but I was like, what on earth makes these people think that they're fooling an animal in the woods, So,
right.
But the people with the parabolic mic, it's just a few folks walking around the swamp during the day, being quiet with their shiny new microphone.
All proud.
Right. They don't do any howling.
Getting it dirty.
Right. They don't do any howling. They're quiet and they're listening. The leader guy, boy, he is a kind of a dick.
Is he?
Yes. He's really snippy. I think one of them is his wife, and the other one's like this bonehead who just kind of, he's the guy that met him on Facebook and just started coming around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
He's the guy carrying the mic.
He is. He actually was the guy. I think he had the mic, and so they're like, But, so the interesting thing is, so it's okay. Besides the guy being kind of snippy and being kind of a dick, I mean, he's intense. Yeah. You can tell he's seen something before that makes him want to see it again. So what he does, one of his techniques I found kind of interesting, he has a slingshot with him.
Oh, really?
And if he hears something or thinks something somewhere, he shoots marbles in that direction to get something, to get things moving, to get like an animal moving, something like that. And
startle something.
At first I thought this was a boredom technique, and and then it kind of started to make sense because things were quiet until they get pelted with a marble, so, but when I see it in practice, I'm like, well, okay, that's not really a bad idea. It really isn't a bad idea. So all that being said, like with this and the last show, the Bigfoot encounters and things like that, nothing really happens. They're out there being very quiet in the woods, looking around, maybe hearing something. Mr. Ben Harley, I would watch a show like that every week above the shit that's half staged and the silly techniques that they use that are ridiculous. Like Girl Scouts out in the woods, quit firing off firecrackers. I think the silliest one still to this day is when they shot the movie Legend of Boggy Creek up. Legend of Boggy Creek. Legend of Boggy Creek up on like some cedar trees or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
Out in the woods. I'm like, oh, you're kidding me, right? No, they weren't kidding.
No, we're not kidding. I like the Boggy Creep, though.
That's pretty good, yes.
It's our next one we're making.
That's right. That's it, Mr. Ben Harley. Woo!
Come on.
I got through. No, I tried my damnedest. Actually, I didn't do too bad, considering I was stepping on your toes and everything. Buddy. Yeah.
You're fine.
Getting through. But I had to end up with those Bigfoot things. Again, write them down if you got this here. Bigfoot encounters, the trail to Bigfoot, giants in the swamp. I think you'd at least appreciate what you're seeing.
Sure.
Won't take too much time on your day either. That's what I got.
Yeah.
What do you got? Anything?
Tim, I got a few things here, buddy. We'll go through real quick though. Yeah. I appreciate you once again talking about the wrestling and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The potentate. I really appreciate. I don't know what he thinks, and I don't
care what he thinks.
I'm sure he doesn't care what we think.
No, he doesn't either.
So stay out of his way.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a couple ones, Tim, I was interested to see if you knew about. Billy brought in a DVD like collection the other day, and I do believe it has like 8 to 10 movies on it or something.
Okay.
And I watched it. We watched the first one. It was called Greenskeeper. I don't know if you've ever seen Greenskeeper.
I think I've heard of it. Heard of it. Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it is what it is. It's one of them. It's a golf course,
right.
And there's a killer greenskeeper going around, and there's some boobies in it and things like that and stuff.
Right.
So not a bad little film. It's okay. It knows what it is. So I did enjoy that, know. So I was really excited. I'm like, because this box set or whatever thing sat here for a while and I didn't touch it.
Didn't look too promising.
Well, I wouldn't even look at its way. But after watching Greenskeeper, whatever, wasn't too bad. So I thought, well, let's go on to the next one. And I picked one called Grimm. And,
no, not that. Go ahead.
Is it the one about them down like in a tunnel?
Oh, no, I know. I know Grimm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Awful movie. Greenskeeper, which looked like they spent a lot less money and time on, looked like Lawrence of Arabia compared to Grimm for me. I was just like, oh my God, that was just awful. And there was a cute chickie in there, and I'm thinking, all right, and this is me being male chauvinist pig or whatever. But I'm like, well, I'm holding out hope. I said, hey, she's really pretty, come on. You know what happens in horror movies. Oh, yeah. But, well, that didn't happen. I think they did spray some blood on her at one point, but that's about it. And it's awful film. So
it's terrible. Yeah.
We'll see. I'm going to try to go back and watch a couple more of those.
I remember when Grimm came out. Grimm came out on the VHS rentals, and I got real excited because it was a monster movie.
Yeah.
And the cover looked pretty neat. Except the I didn't realize it had a bit of a Rawhead Rex thing going on. That was it. It didn't move, man. It was a Halloween mask, basically. Yeah,
terrible.
It's really slow and clumsy too.
Yeah. And I didn't care about anybody. Well, the one pretty girl I cared about her. That was a big letdown. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna try to go back and watch some of the other ones. When I have a little time, we'll see. But yeah, Greenskeeper, it's all right. It's all right. You know what I mean? I did enjoy it. It made me chuckle a couple times.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I remember the Greenskeeper from family video rentals and stuff. I never watched it. It's not good. I never got it.
It's all right. It's okay. Yeah, man. But, okay, yes, Timo. I actually got to watch with my daughter Sydney. We watched Godzilla, the most recent one.
Okay.
We didn't get to watch all of it, but probably like maybe 3/4 of it. And she was in for about half of it. She liked when the creatures would show up, and when the music gets dramatic, she's in. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It could be snails going at it, but as long as you know what I mean. So I did enjoy it. I do enjoy that film. It's funny, that film it grows on me a little bit more that I watch it, because when I first saw it, I didn't like it until the last few minutes because I was mad. Wasn't enough Godzilla in it.
Right.
Went back and saw it. Realized it's your typical Godzilla movie. It really is. It's, you watch any Godzilla movie, the good ones from back in the day, it's exactly one of those.
Right.
You see the monster for a little bit, then it goes away. You see people talk.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, I appreciated it more, and I think this next one will be even better. I liked Skull Island was decent enough, and I think. I'm glad to see these monsters on screen. It was really fun to watch it with Sydney too. She enjoyed it. So, I'm really looking forward to see Monster Zero make his appearance.
That's coming up, right?
I know. Yeah. I know we did get to see the trailer a little bit, which was cool. I know that came out. Basically, it looks like we're all in trouble though in this one. I think Mothra is going to save the day, and I'm going to be mad, but. It looks like basically we are the infection, and these are titans, are coming to basically take care of us.
That's interesting.
And so we'll see. We'll see. Maybe good guys and bad guys.
All right.
I don't think Monster Zero is going to be a good guy.
No.
I think Ghidra is going to cause, and I can't wait. It's funny. I don't get too excited about things anymore. But just seeing, they only showed the shadow of the 3 heads of Ghidra. And that gave me goosebumps because I'm like, oh my God, yes. That's one of my favorite monsters ever. It's just, when Ghidra showed up, shit went down. It just didn't, you know what I mean? Right. And even as a kid, Monster Zero was so cool. And I want to see him done well and big time,
Ghidra just needed something to punch with.
Yeah. He
needed a fist of some sort,
Yeah.
Would have helped.
He didn't kick well.
No. He just kind of shook his head around and sprayed his fire mace. At people and stuff. Yeah.
But excited about that, Tim. Yes. And then also the other day, Tim, I watched, you'd be proud of me, I watched Them.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, Them was on. And it's got a couple of our favorites in there too. In them, it's got old Matthew Dillon in there. Yeah, you know. So I had a lot of fun watching that the other day. It's a good old movie. It's a good old movie, and I like too. Like it was on AMC, I think, or it might have been Turner.
I think it's Turner Classics. They had I know they had a day. I'm on some Facebook page of Classic Universal Monsters, and they get real excited when Turner Classics plays them all day. So I remember,
and it was cool that they, I love how they build that up, on there, Timo. Like beforehand, they talk about it, and they're not sitting there going, "Well, this was a dumb bug movie from back in the." No, they give it the proper,
right.
You know what I'm saying, respect that it deserves. I don't care if it is a giant.
Was it Ben Mankiewicz now? He used to be
young guy, younger guy,
glasses, Ben Mankiewicz, used to be my guy. Used to be Robert Osborne.
Oh yeah,
because Angie couldn't stand him because she said he was snooty. Robert Osborne. He put his pinkies up when he drank something. Yeah. I loved him. Yeah.
Two more things, real quick, Tim. They had a couple things up, and I've seen some of these. I think it's called like not behind the scenes, but like real story, and it's about the movies. They had one on Jaws, and basically, I'd seen most of it. It had a couple new things, but really, what they did is they took that Blu-ray documentary, and they took that documentary and cut it down and then added other stuff to it. You know what I mean? So I've seen it's probably 3/4 of it already, and then it was okay, but I did watch one on Scarface. That was pretty good, and I've been trying to get Wendy to watch Scarface with me.
Which one?
When I not the original, the Pacino one.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So this was on the Pacino one, but when I had Showtime and all that stuff free there for a while, I had taped all that stuff. So I still have probably about 10 movies that I wanted, from Smokey and the Bandit to Scarface. You know what I mean? And so
I got that on Blu-ray. I don't know if I told you that. Yeah, I got it on Blu-ray.
Oh, I've watched it twice now. Oh, and I still won't delete it. Oh, I love that. It just makes me it's just fun.
It is a fun movie. Yeah.
That's my dad all the way. Jackie Gleason is my dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that makes you the sheriff guy. That makes you the deputy guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He said, "Dad, my hat flew off. Goddamn head was in it." That's my dad. Yeah. Term of endearment.
Right.
But this was really good. I didn't know as much about Scarface behind the scenes. That movie really affected me when I saw it, as a kid, 12, 13-year-old kid. I really was like, that's not, in my little brain, I was like, that's not really how it is it? That's not really, because I really don't remember who I was with or where I saw it. I just remember seeing it and just being mesmerized, but also just shocked, and I didn't know what to think. There was so much stuff going on in that movie, you know what I mean? And then the whole chainsaw scene. There's very few scenes in movies to this day that have made me as nervous as that did. That whole scene, the beginning, before the chainsaw, and then all that. I've never, as a kid, I was on pins and needles. You know, I mean, just blown away. But this real story of it was pretty cool. I'd forgotten, or maybe forgot, or didn't know that Oliver Stone. Yes, he wrote Scarface. He did
Oliver Stone. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I've got the actual script.
Yeah,
to that movie.
So and what happened is he'd wrote it, but they'd kind of chopped it up, and he'd actually been banned from the set. Because he was coming in all the time, and he would try to talk to Pacino or other people, Manny and all that, trying to be like, "Yeah, they're tearing my script up," and they finally banned him. And that's it, you're done,
right,
and stuff. But very interesting as far as documentary style, behind the scenes stuff went. Very good. A lot of stuff went into that movie, and getting back to the original Scarface, Tim, and into your wheelhouse.
Yep.
Al Pacino had seen that, had gone and saw it, and was like, we could do this, and they were actually, and that was the thing too. Oliver Stone had it set in that same time period, but they're like, no, they wanted to do, I said, no, let's do it in the Miami cocaine, which I think it way back. I'm glad they did. if you want to watch the gangster one, go back and watch the original one. You know what I'm saying? Or watch another remake of a gangster movie. I'm glad they did it because that was way more powerful to me as a kid watching that shit than it would have been watching a gangster movie.
Well, I agree with you, except that it's called Scarface. So it should have been. It's obviously a Capone reference, So I think they should have changed the name. I'll be honest with you. Like I am on an island with this movie.
I've never compared it. What's that, Mike?
I said I am like on an island with that movie because I've never. I don't know if it's Michelle Pfeiffer and him dancing at the club. I don't know what it is, but the movie just drips of cheese to me. Like. And I like all this stuff.
So a little bit of like that because of the clothes and the things, and they kind of did go a little bit for that. But that's how a lot of that stuff kind of was. And with him being such, being not from here, being Cuban refugee and stuff, kind of.
Right.
I think they ripped a little bit on that, his accent and stuff. But to me, the rest of the stuff for me just blew my mind. I just couldn't understand what I didn't know it was like that. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, and to me, that movie, it's not one that I go back and watch all the time. I do like a lot of things from it. I reference a few things from it here and there that make me laugh. Like Fly Pelican when he's watching the flamingos. Love it, man. Love it. But they do compare it in this story how it, how much of I shouldn't say compare, but how much of an influence it had on hip hop and how that culture has taken, it on. But just the whole thing for me, the beginning of the movie when it goes in there in the internment camp thing there or whatever, or the deep, I don't even know what you call it at that time. And he kills that guy, the riots going. It's just that stuff to me was like, I never really, that stuff was one of those first gritty movies that just flipped me out. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, what and it just kept amping up. And I don't care. I still think that chainsaw scene is one of the grittiest things I've ever seen in a movie. It's just, because you're like, oh God, no, he's not real. No, and
right.
And it's real too. You know what I mean? That stuff happened. That's why, like I said, a lot of the movies that are have more of a real tone to them. Untouchables. I love that movie.
That's a good movie. Now, Untouchables is a good movie. Yeah.
It's not like super gritty like Scarface, but I think it's one of the best movies ever made.
It's pretty gritty.
Oh, it is. When you take a guy and throw him off a roof, you stepped up the. You know what I'm saying? I love it.
Right. That's Brian De Palma also.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I just, I enjoyed actually watching this documentary or whatever. It was pretty cool. It was fun. You know what I mean? So last thing. I
think that real quick, I think that the actual documentary on what happened with the Cubans and stuff like that is pretty interesting. There's just something
they
about
show a little bit of that in there.
Yeah.
They talked about it a little bit. The Cubans were pissed about it.
Well, sure. But there's something with me, like, I think it might be the movie fan in me. I could never get in that movie. And I would watch people's reaction, and I felt like a serial killer at a funeral watching other people cry without empathy. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I see there's a movie here. I see Pacino's in it. Now, does it have cool moments? Yeah, I mean, there were some moments like, say hello to my little friend. I almost didn't like his accent. I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I love Brian De Palma. Well, sort of. And I love Brian De Palma. I don't like Stephen Bauer. Like his buddy guy. I don't like Michelle Pfeiffer, but I do like Pacino.
Knockout in that.
She's never been into her. Her eyes are trying to run away from each other. I don't know what it is.
Oh, but Grease too. Oh.
I can't get into her. She's just not my thing. But the thing is that I have the movie on Blu-ray. I told you I got a book which is the script of the movie and stuff. So I have a bit of a collector's thing with it, but I just rarely go back and watch it because it makes me cringe. And I actually think like Carlito's Way is like a way superior organized crime type of movie with Pacino that is De Palma and all that. And I don't know. And I tread lightly on this because it's like, I need to go back and watch it again. But I do know that these were things I was thinking when I was like 14. And I don't usually get more forgiving. Well, I usually don't get much more forgiving with movies as time goes on, but you never know. You never know. There's been a lot of crap that's come out too that puts some of these other movies I didn't like so much up on a pedestal a little bit more. But
sure.
That's interesting though. I mean, and I know a lot of people like it, so I kind of back off. I'm like, well, this might be where I'm just on an island. I can't. I see what people are saying. I've watched the movie. I don't find it.
Well, they speak of the pimples on it too, which I found refreshing as well. You know? But I think they tried to amp a lot of that stuff up, and and you and I both try to put ourselves, which I think helps watching these, especially the older movies. Put yourself in that time period too. This was before Miami Vice and stuff, and things like that, and it just, to me, it's one of those movies that puts the 80s kind of in perspective to me a little bit. Not in perspective, but if you want to know a little bit of the 80s, you can watch that. Now, I know it's over the top, but there was a lot of stuff like that was over the top. It was just,
I still think when they're in the disco and Michelle Pfeiffer and Pacino are dancing,
my good buddy was in there.
And they're talking, and they're dancing while they're talking, the movie completely lost me, and it's never gotten me back in 25 years. It's completely lost me. I was like, what the fuck are you? This looks like a bad, what it looked like? That scene from one of the Naked Gun movies. Where Leslie Nielsen is doing that with Priscilla Presley. They're both dancing, he's talking, and they're dipping each other. It looks exactly like that, except one's supposed to be funny, and the other one is, I don't know what it's supposed to be. I can't, but I'm not even sure it's a sign of the times as much as how it's a bizarre twisting of the times a little bit too. Now, look, this is just how I feel about it. Again, this is not a when a stranger calls thing. It was exactly what they said it was going to be, except for Scarface. I think that it's always confused me. You saying that, and I probably knew this before, but forgot it. But you saying that Oliver Stone wrote it, and he wrote it as a gangster flick from the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Well,
Italian
no wonder he was there.
Flick.
Yeah, no wonder he was on set going nuts, because they're turning it into a Cuban refugee crisis movie, and so I'm going to have to side with Oliver Stone, because I think it would have been way cooler to see that cast play that, and they did come back and do it in Untouchables a little bit. Pretty much is probably what Untouchables is probably what Oliver Stone wanted them to do. He's probably very frustrated when Untouchables came out, because it was such a good movie too, but I feel you though. No, I'm not, and I'm not criticizing you. I'm not. I don't get the intensity of the film. I think there's funny parts to it. It goes over my head, I guess. It just blows by me, and I'm just like, and like the scene with the chainsaw and stuff, it doesn't do anything to me. I watch it, I'm just like, they don't show anything. It's just a chainsaw. I don't know. So for me,
they mentioned that. Yeah, but still, just you hear it, and you hear you see his eyes, and then you hear I'm like, people don't really. That was for me. It's like when I see stuff like that, it's like people don't really do that, do they? Like and
something triggered my suspension of disbelief in that movie that threw me out of it. Yeah. And I don't get what other people get into it. So I don't know. I can't identify what that was. I think it was a dance scene. I had
a lot of love for movies. And I knew bad movies, but I still, but it was a few years after that when I started to be like, oh no.
It's in a good era. It's in a good, I like the way it was filmed and stuff. Like, it's in a good era. We've talked about this before. I don't like tropical, like Miami type movies. They take me out. No,
I'm not. I get you.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not a real big fan of that either.
The environment doesn't lend itself to anything more than like maybe a Ace Ventura comedy, or something like that. And I don't like Miami Vice. I don't like none of that stuff. And so I don't know what it is about it. I don't think I've ever been a huge fan of like Florida, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of cool because it looks like we're pissing. Well, it looks like we're pissing on Cuba. Yeah, I like that part of it. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I don't know what it is. And it's kind of a mystery to me. I kind of leave it alone in a way. I have Scarface on Blu-ray. I got the 10 of it and everything. So, I mean, I've got it, and I will go back and watch it sometime, but it just, I like the original one. I like the old, anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think of Paul Muni, but I'm just saying, I like that old original, and it shouldn't take away from the Brian De Palma film.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's a story. I mean, it's the Untouchables is good. It doesn't take away from the old Scarface, so I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting you watch that. I think it's kind of interesting to watch those. Is it on a Reels TV? Is that what you watched it on? They have a lot of those, like, behind the scenes and stuff like that on that Reels channel.
It might have been, buddy. You know, I apologize.
Because on my snooty what the hell do I even have? What kind of TV do I have? The Sling TV. Yeah. I do go to Reels every now and then, and I'll watch on demand stuff, and it's all about like famous murder documentaries or documentaries like The Real Story of Jaws and stuff like that. I know A&E does stuff like that too. But anyway, that's interesting though. No, it's not bad. Just
it's pretty good.
I'm more venting my frustration with Scarface than anything else. It's not, and I'm not. You know, sometimes I get personal mad. This one's just more of a curiosity. Like I don't know. I honestly think it sticks in my head that fucking dancing scene. I wanted to kick a TV. I'm like, oh man, come on! I'm not afraid of a dude that dances like that, you know. and why on earth would she want to be with a dude that dances like that? What's she dancing like that? You know, it's like.
Well, I know. Well, that scene is an awkward scene, like because he's like hitting on her, and it's his boss's, you know, and he's like goes out there, and she's like, you know, and I know it's just
It's not. He wasn't. No John Travolta moves going on.
No,
that's for sure. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to interject a little bit there. What else you got?
Oh, that's right, man. Last thing, Tim. I wanted to say thank you. I got a fine gift for my birthday from Timo.
Oh yeah,
and Angio and little Chanso and a T-shirt. A nice T-shirt. So now I know where to get my Bigfoot burgers and ammo.
That's right, and the phone number to call ahead.
Yes, sir.
We actually waited for the place to open to get you that too, because it came out and they opened a little bit late. They apologized. They said, long night. They looked like they drank upstairs and opened downstairs. So they're doing it, but got you something else. I know it's this little surprise, and I know you think it's a print. It's not, but it is breakable. So I don't want to send it over the mail. So next time I see you, I'll get that to you too. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I couldn't leave without getting.
I've already worn it. You know, it's very nice. I look good in it. It looks good on me.
Very good, very good. Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
I would have gotten you something from the bookstore, but the guy was afraid of me. So
yeah, he was.
He was looking out of the corner of his eye at me, going, yeah.
Come on.
Right. All right, let's get Let's get to our official films. You're very welcome for that. We were very glad to get that. I told Angie, I was like, I can't leave Willow Creek without getting a couple of things. Come on now, you know. So, but
I appreciate it. I'm not sure when I'll get to Willow Creek. I'm gonna try it one of these days.
It's doable. Just do it. You just got to do it. I mean, it's one of those things where you can't quit thinking. Yeah. That's what we did. We quit thinking. We just did it. You know, so we got out of our comfort zone, as you say, and we did it.
I'd love to do that. Get out of this dumb place. Did I say dumb?
Yeah, you said dumb. Let's see. Let's get to our official films, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yes, sir.
This week, Mr. Ben Harley, believe it or not, it is 1981 week. However, now what is 1981, Mr. Ben Harley?
Best year in film.
Yeah, according to me.
That's right.
Yeah, best year in films. That's right. Friday 13th 2, I believe Halloween 2.
Who else matters?
Yeah, American Werewolf in London. Come on, this was it. Now, this week we will have the 1981 exception to the rule week.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's true. Yes, yeah.
All right. Nothing's perfect, right, Mr. Ben Harley? Nothing's perfect. No, Scarface wasn't perfect, right? Nothing is perfect here. So, first up, we have of course, 1981, although it might have been, I think it was actually might have been released in the U.S., at least widespread at very early 82. But it's credited as 81. So I'm going to go with the 81 thing because it's cooler. It makes more sense for a show. It's more fun. So anyway, the movie is Evilspeak.
Yes.
Evilspeak.
Evil.
Evo.
I know about evil.
Speak. All right. So let's get a real short storyline synopsis here, and then go through it. Get our old movie guy. He's been on mothballs for a little while.
He's been on the shelf for a little while.
Here we go. An outcast military cadet taps into a way to summon demons and cast spells on his tormentors through his computer. Yeah.
And Richard Mole.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Old bull. Evilspeak is a play on an old term that was called computer speak. So when computer nerds back in 81, when only like 9 people in the country knew how to do DOS or whatever the fuck it was back then, they called it computer speak. So this Evilspeak is a play, which completely has been lost in our culture at this point, is a play on that. And yeah, it is Clint Howard is at a military academy. And let's just say that the bullying he receives is bordering on cartoonish.
Yeah, right. Exactly. If you can't take that kid, come on.
Yeah. No, it's like everybody bullies a guy. Yeah. I'm pretty sure a grasshopper flew in his mouth just to piss him off in the movie. Just to be a dick. It's like, have you noticed that though about some of those 80s movies that like the if it's a movie about a high school guy or something like that, he's always bullied. By everybody. Like horribly bullied. To the point where I think when we were kids, there was a lot of bullying going on because we watched in the movies and thought it was funny. Because a lot of time it was the funny parts of the movie when the dudes get bullied, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, but he gets bullied like bad, and it is cartoonish because it's so over the top. So pulling his pants off, throwing his hat everywhere, just grabbing him. It's just like, man, don't be playing grab ass me in the shower. That makes you look stupid, not me, okay? You know what I'm saying? It makes
me uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable, too.
Well, now, we do have a good cast. You did mention Richard Mole. As I was telling Angio while we were watching it, he was Father Esteban Sarmiento. Didn't find any Bigfoots and didn't look like our favorite Esteban.
Esteban, no.
Looked like him, but he was Father Esteban. Yeah, he was kind of the guy that got the curse going.
He was a big jerky.
He
was. At the beginning.
He was a jerk. We got R.G. Armstrong as the uncleaned like janitor guy named Sarge, I guess, or whatever. Claude Earl Jones is Coach from Dark Knight Scarecrow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wearing the exact same outfit.
Yeah, I was just.
He's wearing the same outfit. He didn't change. He's got pulled up above his belly button again. Damn blood. You know. So.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man. Yeah. Angio says, is that any relation to James Earl Jones? Again, possibly distant cousins. Possibly. So it's got a good cast. So my storyline synopsis of the film is Clint Howard finds an evil book in secret catacombs and gets picked on by everybody, including pigs.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of pigs in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Mean sons of bitch pigs. And I'm trying to understand if this movie was trying to get to a point where he was the evil commander of an army of killer pigs.
Yeah, that would have been a little more interesting.
But didn't it seem like it was kind of floating over that way? And then they they fell apart. So now I have seen this movie, I believe, a grand total of one time in my lifetime before this. And I had to watch it to the end. I'll put it to you this way. I was watching it. We were about a half hour in. I looked over at Angio and said, if the end of this movie has Clint Howard floating around a church with a sword in his hand, I've seen this before. Sure damn enough. I've seen it before. And the reason I remember that is because it was a still in Fangoria magazine. That's why I remember it. So, Ben Harley, was this your first time seeing this?
Yes, it's my first time, and it's funny because this movie's been floating around. I know you gave it to me a long time ago, and every other show we do with Bob, I look at it, and I'm like, we gotta do this, and I'm gonna apologize now.
Yeah,
I pushed us towards this turkey. Well, I'm a Ron Howard fan, and I happen to be a Clint Howard fan.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as this movie started and I saw that it was starring Clint Howard, I thought we might be in trouble. And then it started, and then I knew we were in trouble.
You don't think Clint can carry a film, is what you're saying?
I think maybe in the right, well, maybe not.
With the right script and director and lighting guy.
Right. Right story.
Anything but this.
Anything but this, man. And I feel bad because I do like him. Clint Howard's been in our spectrum forever. You know what I mean? Time we were little kids watching him in old westerns and television shows, so he's been on our docket, right? Tim has been on our docket.
Absolutely.
So I just had a bad feeling. I really did. And it might have been my spider senses tingling, but you know what? I'm glad because I was right. Yeah, I don't know this movie, Tim, and we've reviewed many movies like this. I know you and I have both seen tons of movies with the same thing. You just talked about it,
right.
being bullied and stuff. The same setup and all that.
Right.
This just happened to have a computer, in it that I don't know
with a direct line to Satan.
More like a Texas Instrument. Calculator.
It was
or whatever.
Of a Commodore 64 a little bit.
Yeah. Like you're right. Direct line to the devil, Richard Mole.
Yeah.
Or through Richard Mole, through the computer to the devil.
Right.
Something like that. I don't know.
Right.
It's hard to get there because it was dial-up, right, Tim?
Right.
Dang, I'm on a roll. So anyway,
like butter.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I just don't think this movie ever really. I said, the bullying was dumb. It just didn't really come off real good, and I just didn't have anything good really. I just didn't. I didn't really like the movie. There's nothing. It takes him a while. To kind of snap a little bit, but then I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if you should be doing this. And then I'm like, why is that downstairs? What's the little thing downstairs in this place? Why is it,
the weird catacombs with all the candles and shit. Yeah. That's
and I'm were more, it was, I don't know. The whole thing just, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't think it was a very compelling story.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it was written by a Catholic. I was brought up Catholic. Me and Angio got to kind of talk. It was the one interesting conversation we had while the movie was going on, but I told her, I was like, I don't think this is written by a Catholic. She's like, why is it? Because a Catholic wouldn't write a movie and call it Satan.
Right.
I mean, look at the Exorcist. Never said Satan. That was a demon. That was not, Satan ain't going to bother Clint Howard. Are you fucking kidding me? He's got bigger fish to fry than that,
Man, that stupid computer, he ain't going through
He's
that.
got a macro world to deal with, I'm not worried about Clint Howard. I just thought it was really poorly written. I mean, and it was, I have never said this about anyone or anything, not this term in my life. I know I've never said this, and I'm going to say this right here on the Timo and Harley show. This was a crummy movie.
It's awful.
I've never said crummy about anything.
No.
It's a crummy movie. Now, let me get you something here because I just couldn't wait to tell you this because I knew there might be something in this film that was bothering you. Okay. And there's a connection here going on in this movie, especially with Clint Howard. Okay. Now, there's the bully guys, the group of bully guys. Yeah. Has the one kind of tall, doofy bully guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, yeah. Charlie Boy. They call him Charlie Boy.
Charlie Boy.
Yeah, that was the actor Lauren Lester. Okay. Also known as Fritz Hansel from Rock and Roll High School. The hall monitor guy. Yeah. I was looking at him going who is that guy? It's driving me crazy. I know that guy. And I looked it up and I started laughing. I can't wait to tell Ben this. I started dying laughing.
Demerits. Oh, yeah. I love that guy.
Yep. So I was like, oh, man. I go, that's great. I knew I recognized him. So that was kind of fun. But this is just a crummy movie. It's just, I mean, I wanted to pick on Clint Howard.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to get up there picking on him.
For him
No.
And you're supposed to in a way.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. I couldn't.
Yeah. It's almost like a formula 80s, like any kind of 80s teen movie with a really bad, convoluted, disjointed curse put upon, I don't know. It just doesn't make any, and the whole computer thing is, I mean, I don't think the computer thing even worked back then as far as using it as a story device, but it certainly is not working at all in this day and age. And when computers are gone, they're passe now. Most people just have their phones and shit, so I don't know. That's a crummy movie. I mean, just bad. It doesn't even look like it was made in 81. It doesn't.
No.
Looks like it actually looks like it was made. If the movie itself, the movie itself, yes, feels like it's a 70s movie, but it looks like it was almost, I don't know. It wasn't made in time or space. I don't care.
No.
It's bad. No, I'm pooping on it. I'm straight up pooping on it. I got a better one for you. This was actually a video nasty in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, I guess because of the tittles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Lots of dudes taking showers and some tittle stuff. But and the other thing too is like when they have it. First of all, I did pick the Miss whatever her name was when they had the beauty pageant. Yeah. I looked over at Angie. I was like, that's my pick right there. And baby, I said, thank you, 1981. I won. I was right. I knew who was going to win the beauty contest. That was my favorite gal. I said, there's no contest. That girl is going to win.
Hands down.
She did. So she got to go with the hot dudes. And then the other two losers got to go with the bully guys down into the basement, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now, that whole scene to me, I looked over also at NGO and said, if this was real life, these girls would be owning this situation. Those guys would not be pushing dogs around doing nothing. These girls would be owning the situation. Trust me, because that's when we know a few dudes that have no empathy for anybody, but you get them alone with the girl and they act like they have charm, right? They act like they're giving a crap. We both know what I'm talking about. So that would have, and so I thought that was an underpinning, kind of thing that I thought was kind of funny in the movie. But it's a crummy movie. It's a bad movie. I mean, there's just nothing good about it. I mean, the acting is like there. The directing, it's just very lazy movie, and very clumsy, and the scares are awful. Like the jump scares, they edit into a jump scare. There's no suspense leading up to it. It's like, what the fuck? Oh man, bad movie. Yeah. So I'm gonna. Well, you better. Like.
Yeah, me too. I just didn't enjoy it. Mm-mm. I really didn't. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Mm-hmm. It was awful.
Well, I'm surprised I didn't like it any more than I did, given the year and given. I mean, I actually thought Clint Howard would be okay. I mean, he's a weird dude, so it's like I should say he's a weird dude. He's got an odd kind of look to him, and so it's like, I thought it might be okay. It certainly was fun in rock and roll high school and stuff, but the ice cream man, the ice cream man,
Enterprises,
the movie that came out in the '90s, a direct-to-video ice cream man. That's Bob Fancher's favorite movie, at least it used to be. And so there's lots of reasons it might be okay, but this is crummy. It's bad. So
this is not one of them.
No, this is not one of the reasons. 1981 is the greatest film, our greatest year in film ever. This is not evidence to that fact. So
no.
Let's see. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley, to another 1981 epic.
Yes, sir.
Let's see here.
Well, okay.
This is the film Saturday the 14th.
Saturday the 14th, my friend. Yes.
Let me give you a little storyline synopsis here. Get movie guy back out. Here we go. A family moves into a house inhabited by scary creatures, and a number of close calls ensue. That's great. That's really fun. Okay, cool. So Richard Benjamin and his real life wife, also Paula Prentice. Yeah, they're actually married in real life.
Awesome.
Yeah. They buy a house, or they get a house left to them in a will.
Yeah, in a will.
And it's a piece of junk. It's an old monster's house, basically.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Tambor is a great actor. He's like a Dracula character in this. Yeah. They want the house because there's a cursed book that'll unleash monsters upon the earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's basically it. So Richard Benjamin and his family get into the house, and then the little kid in the movie, he finds the book. And he opens it up, and then monsters start running around the house. So it's really kind of like about it. Yeah. And then there's a Van Helsing character guy. I like that actor too, by the way. Stephen Darden. Or Severn Darden. Severn Darden is his name.
Okay.
I used to get, when I was a little kid, and I would think back to what Orson Welles looked like in 1981. And his voice, I used to get him a little confused with Orson Welles, believe it or not. So I know their careers were different arcs, but I'm just saying. Right. So anyway, but a little story about this movie. In 1981, this movie was rated PG when it came out, and I was 8 years old, 9 years old or so, 8 years old, born in 73, so about 8 years old or so. And I was only allowed to go see PG movies. Now, in 1981, that covered a lot of ground because PG movies are basically rated X movies today, more or less. Yeah. Some of them were. And so I begged my mom to go see this because there was monsters and shit in it, and it was PG. And I remember it being one of those times going to the theater where I was a little disappointed. I was a little bit like, it wasn't, I knew it was a comedy. Okay. But I thought it was going to be kind of funny.
Yeah.
I knew it as a horror comedy, so I thought maybe be a little scary. Well, I went and saw it and found out it was really neither of each, to be honest with you. Now, Ben Harley, I know you've seen this. I know you have. All of us goobers have seen this flick. So what'd you think going back to Saturday 14th?
Well, I actually kind of, I did not hate this movie when I was younger. I thought it was funny. I knew what it was.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. And it was one of the first kind of horror comedies to me, besides Abbott and Costello.
Right.
But, even Abbott and Costello tried to keep the horror was legit. They were funny.
Mm-hmm.
But everything for the most part, most of the monsters, but the monsters do bumble around and do some silly things, sometimes. Going back and watching this, I was a little bit excited about watching this, and I kind of got into it, and I forgot a lot about it, and I was a little let down.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the jokes kind of fell flat, and it just seemed like it was a lot more boring than I remember.
Yeah.
A lot more boring.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Richard Benjamin. I do. I like him. I like him as a straight man and, and a comedian. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I just like him, But yeah, for some reason, this one just fell short big time for me this time watching it. Now, there were still some gags in there that I like, I like the guy, the Van Helsing character guy. I loved him, man. For me, he salvaged the movie going back and watching it again. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. And him and Richard Benjamin are good, together in their scenes because he basically comes in he's going to help. What does he come in at first, though? He's to help with bats. Like Timo had bats in his belfry.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, but he's like, show me to my room and all this. Like, room? He's like, you don't expect me to get rid of them, and then
those are bats or owls. Those were owls. Yeah. That's what I kept saying in the movie. They're owls. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he kept, so what time's dinner and all this type stuff, like what, and Richard Benjamin, kind of plays it, it's just, I liked a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part at dinner, where they're talking because his wife's pregnant, and she's turning into a vampire and all that stuff was really pretty cool. And they're even saying, you're going, the Van Helsing guy, you're going to have a baby. And do you know who the father is? And I've always, even from first time I saw that movie, I've always thought that was one of the funniest things. But I did enjoy, like I said, bits and pieces of it. But as a whole, it fell real short for me.
Yeah.
I just was a little disappointed. I just thought, but the thing is, the way things are nowadays too, just everything's moves so much faster, and I like the slower pace stuff now.
Right.
But this just moved a little too slow.
And the funny thing is that it really wasn't moving slow. They start off with monsters almost right away, and they keep throwing monsters at you. But at an hour and 15 minutes, it feels like an hour and 45 minutes. And that's really difficult to do. Hats off to they made the movie that feel that slow. And I'm being a little silly by that, but the thing with Richard Benjamin in this movie is he keeps grinning and looking like he's an airhead, he looks like he's going to say something funny and he just doesn't say anything funny. That's the thing. Yeah. Everyone acts like they're in a comedy, but the script is very light on comedy.
Yeah.
The monsters are just damn goofy. They're kind of, and it's like, now hold on. Okay. And you have to, people who might be listening who are maybe under the age of, let's say 30, I don't know who you would be, but anybody under the age of 30, you're going to have to forgive me and wait till you get to be 45, 50 years old. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But the daughter, I've always thought I had a crush on. Oh my goodness gracious. I
felt bad. Made me feel icky.
I did too. But I think it was just going back to my childhood seeing it. And Ben Harley, I know why I liked her and why I had a crush on her, because she was the daughter in Give Me a Break.
There you go. That's right. Yeah.
Yep,
okay.
Mel Carter.
I kept thinking. Yep. I kept thinking she looked familiar.
Yep. So that's why, and I was in love with her. I was in love with her on that show too. And I'm still in love with her. I think she was one of the most beautiful creatures, ever. She's just looks very nice, which is nice.
Yeah.
Like very pleasant. Sometimes women, also people are under 30, listen to us. as you get older, a pleasant woman becomes a hell of a lot hotter than one who might be immediately as hot, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, it's connected to a shit mouth too. Yeah, or somebody who just can't be cool to you anymore. Just whatever. Right. So I did like that. I do feel like a dirty old man a little bit, but in fairness, I even busted myself out to my wife and said, she's really hot. I'm sorry. I'm an old creepy dude, but I did say, I said, Angie, she's got kind of your thing going on. I was like, about 20 years difference, so I'm just saying though, just nice looking person, I just really enjoyed her. Yeah. And, even when I begged my mom to go see it, I couldn't wait to go see this. I mean, I had Fangoria's, because this was also in Fangoria. I had stills of the head. Yeah. The head, the practical effects as far as like the head, the severed head and all that are actually pretty good. I mean, some of it's kind of bloody, kind of gory actually. But I remember going and see it just thinking, this is just like almost like watching a high school play. Yeah. In a way.
I don't know. There's something missing in it for me. It's just, there's a lot of dead space. No
comedy? It's just not funny. I just don't think it's very funny. And it's not scary.
A little bit funnier than it just wasn't.
The one thing that always stuck on my head, and I remember when I went and saw it with my mom, she did laugh at one part when the old bat opens up the door or whatever, and the realtor is like kind of a zombie. We call it a fixer-upper. I always remember the fixer-upper part, so that was okay. But there is a nice little twist at the end that I don't think I even saw coming as a kid, and I wasn't looking for it. As far as who the good guys and bad guys are, everything kind of turns on the bad guy. Yeah, everything kind of turns on its head. So there is a moment there, but then the battle between the two of them is just retarded, stupid. Yeah, it's like dumb, what? They're basically screaming at each other with semi-horn sounds. Okay. All right. Whatever. It's just, that being said, I can't poop on it though. My soul doesn't allow it. It's almost as if my history, my everything in my fiber does not allow it. But I will say this, I'm not going to grape ape up it. I'm just going to go, and it's just not a good movie, but there is some nostalgia to it. And I am convinced it's one of the main, if not the main, one of the top 3 reasons that Richard Benjamin just became a director. I'm pretty sure he just didn't want to get embarrassed anymore, because he is a very successful director. And, but I'm convinced this is one of the reasons. I just really am. I don't doubt it. It was funny seeing him in Westworld and then seeing him in this. In the same basically same week almost, So, but I'm going to go, but warn everybody, it ain't getting any better. No. If you saw it years ago and they had the same kind of reaction we did, it ain't getting any better. If you saw it years ago and you really liked it, try it again. Yeah. It's not getting any better. So it's kind of a little painful. So what do you think, Harley?
Same thing, Tim. I can't poop on it. I was just disappointed. I'm going to give it a super, super mild grape ape up, only for the fact that for nostalgia purposes, I think this movie was ahead of its time, though, in a way, as far as like the horror. You get a lot of that stuff.
It's a good try. It's a real good try. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of movies like, what are they now? All the ones they do of Scream and all that other ones they do, Scary Movie and all that stuff. That stuff's, this was one of the first to really do that, type of stuff, So, but just a super, super mild grape ape up.
Okay. Were you aware that there's a sequel to this?
I don't think I am.
Saturday the 14th Strikes Back came out. Out like 88 or something. It was very. It's worse. It was much worse, and it was very forgettable. It was very forgettable. But it's just kind of interesting that there was a sequel to this. So I think it's a nice try. I think it's. I get what they were doing. It was produced by, was it Julie Corman? I think it was Roger Corman's wife or his sister. I can't remember. I think it might have been his wife. I'm a little foggy on all that, but I'm just saying I know it was a Corman, but and I know it wasn't Roger, who did it or whatever. So, but nice try. It doesn't do anything more for me now than it did back then. All right, well, so we got two. Let's see, we got two right? I don't think you actually did. You actually poop on Evilspeak? I don't remember hearing
yes.
the. Okay, okay, you actually
poop on
you
that.
did
That
poop.
movie's awful.
Okay,
Yeah.
then you got
awful.
You've got a Mercy mild gray vape up for Saturday the 14th, just to carry the torch a little bit. I'm gonna go. I can't poop on it, but it's not a good movie. It's just not a good movie. It does not hold up. So yes, this was the exception to the 1981 rule week here at the Tim and Harley Show. So don't know what we're doing next week, Mr. Ben Harley, but I hope it'll be about half as long. So,
it'll be riveting.
It'll be riveting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It won't be quite
as long.
the epic as this show. So we apologize. We had some stuff. We had some stuff to take care of. So until next week, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Tim and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.